Happy 2024, everybody. I'm glad that we could be together here today, although I would kind of rather that we were together where I was a couple of weeks ago, where it was plus 30 and sunshine, and I was out suntanning and having an amazing vacation with our youngest son and his wife and their two children and our oldest daughter. And it was absolutely the most amazing adventure that we've ever been on. If you have a chance to go on a cruise, I highly, highly recommend it. We spent a few days in Tampa and then a week floating around in the Caribbean and had all kinds of adventures. But today we are going to have a different kind of adventure, because today we are going to focus on, if I can get my camera to stay where I want it to. Let's see if that works better. Maybe we'll see. Okay, so we are going to make a strawberry hibiscus curd. Yes, you did not hear that wrong. Hibiscus flowers are wonderful and tangy, and they just add different stuff that is amazing. So what we are going to do first, and I've already done this to kind of save us some time, is 3/4 of a pound of strawberries, or 340 grams. Throw that in your food processor, unless if you've got some strawberry, keto strawberry jam that you've made and you pureed that, that's fine. We want to puree the strawberries because we want to get rid of all of these seeds, because the seeds, they're not going to hurt you, but they're not going to make this beautiful Valentine's Day dessert that we're making pretty. We don't want little seeds floating around in there. So after you have put them through the food processor, throw them in a sieve and just mix them around, and you will see that you get beautiful strawberry puree with no seeds. So that's what we're doing. And we're gonna set this out of the way now. I don't have any support people here today, so it's just you and me, and I'm glad you could be here. Now, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it later on, I hope that you enjoy this recipe as much as I do. Hibiscus flowers. Now, I'm just gonna wipe this off and make sure that we don't get any seeds in there, because I'm going to use this. Now, we're making a strawberry hibiscus curd, and do it over a double boiler. And you want to do it over a double boiler because it's going to heat it more gently. You're not going to have nearly as much risk of burning it or scrambling the eggs that are in it, since it's a curd. So what we are going to do first is we're going to add the strawberry puree. Okay. Now, I hope all of you had an amazing Christmas and an amazing New Year. We most definitely did. I wouldn't trade 1 minute of our last week of 2023 for anything. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to take 120 grams of allulose, erythritol, xylitol, whatever keto sweetener you're using. So that's half a cup for those of you that want to do it with cups rather than. Now, to that, we're going to add a tablespoon or 15 milliliters of ground hibiscus. Now look at how beautiful and dark and red that is. Now this is an organic hibiscus powder. Now if you have hibiscus flowers that are dried, that are food grade, you can take those and grind them up. Take about 1.5 tablespoons, grind them up, and once you get a really nice powder, you can add them to your sweetener, or you can throw the flowers and the sweetener into your food processor or blender and blend them until you're not seeing any little bits of bits. Okay, so we've got those two together in here. Now to this, we're going to add half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. We want to make sure that this curd is going to thicken up, because next week, you don't want to miss next week, because next week we are going to be making a strawberry hibiscus tart for Valentine's Day, and it is going to be delicious and wonderful, and you are definitely going to want to be here for that. Now, you probably, if you're looking, you can see I've got a Valentine's Day apron on, but I'm kind of a hot mess today, but I'm not going to apologize for that, because I'm still just kind of getting back into the swing of life. Okay, so now that we have, everything that we need for dry ingredients, we've got the allulose, and we've got the hibiscus powder, and we've got the xanthan gum. That's all we need for dry ingredients. So we're just going to dump that in with the strawberries, and that's going to dissolve in there. Now, next, we are going to take 3 whole eggs, and 2 egg yolks. And I just broke my own rule about cracking eggs into a separate bowl, but I guess rules are made to be broken. Okay. So if you are joining me for the first time, or the 10th time, or the millionth time, I don't know why I'm straining that. I need 3 whole eggs. Now, I need 2 extra egg yolks. So, we're just going to do this in here, and we're going to take the egg yolk out. Now, we're going to save this egg white to either make meringue, or I might have to make another batch of carnivore potatoes a little later today. One way or the other, these egg whites are not going to go to waste, that's for sure. So we're just using the egg separator that came with the egg. I think I have an egg separator somewhere. I'm not just sure where, but I'm pretty sure I do. Now, I take these egg yolks and right into the compost with those, because we definitely are not going to need those. Although I have been reading Good Morning, Mom. And good morning to Desperacha. I'm just really not interested in a deal right now, but thanks for popping in. Hopefully you'll stay and watch. And now these eggs, I'm going to blend these up. Now, strawberry puree, you can do a couple different ways. It can be a cooked puree, or it can be a raw puree. Now, if you were to cook it first, then you would have a hot puree to add these eggs in, and that's a little bit trickier, because here, I'm just gonna put that away and stick this in here. You definitely do not want your eggs to scramble in here. So now the next thing that we're going to add, because we're going to give this a little bit of extra tang, because you just can never have too much tang, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of lime juice, and I am choosing to use key lime juice. So there's 60 milliliters. You can put more than that in if you want. Once you've got this on your stovetop and you're making it yourself, then you're the one that makes the rules, not me. So you do it your way with whoever you want to share in mind, or share with in mind. You know, Valentine's Day, all of the ads say Valentine's Day is for lovers. And I suppose that's true, but Valentine's Day is also for people that you love. That's why children in school give Valentine's Day cards. They're not in a romantic relationship, but they definitely have got hearts that know how to love. You know, one of the most amazing things about our trip was getting to spend a couple of weeks with two of our younger grandchildren, our 6-year-old granddaughter and 10-year-old grandson, and it was so much fun. And I will tell you that you just cannot feel more love than you do when you are around beautiful little children, especially my grandkids. But I might be a little biased. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, so we are going to cook this over a high heat. We're going to get the water in the pot boiling. You want about 1 inch or 2 of water, and you do not need to go out and buy a double boiler. Go to the dollar store. If you don't have any tin bowls, glass bowls take way too long to cook things in. But go to your local dollar store and buy just a cheap tin bowl and set it on top of a pot of water. And that way you don't have to have another pot in your kitchen. If you have tin bowls already, then just use that. Now we're also going to use we're going to turn this down a little bit so it starts spitting when it starts boiling. Okay. Now you want to get this to about 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I don't know what that is in Celsius. Alexa, what is 170 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
170 degrees Fahrenheit is about 76.7 degrees Celsius.
There you go, 76.7. So if you like to cook in Celsius, that is just fine. If you don't, that is also just fine. Now we're warming this up slowly, so these eggs, as long as I keep whisking, are just going to cook right in here, and this is going to be absolutely beautiful. Because I knew I was going to be cooking them in here, I didn't pasteurize these eggs first because it didn't matter. And we're going to be checking the temperature on them anyway. Now, when you taste this, if you want it a little more tart, you can definitely add a little bit of citric acid to it. If you want it a little more sweet, you can add a little more allulose to it. So make sure that you do a taste test and think about who you're going to be sharing it with and whether or not they're going to enjoy it. And when you make something that is this yummy, if they don't enjoy it, then you don't have to share, I guess. Okay. Now look at how beautiful that is. If we just used strawberries, it's going to be kind of gray, and just because the strawberries and the eggs, it's not going to give it this beautiful, vibrant Valentine's Day color. And you can store this in your fridge for about a week, week and a half. Put it in a jar. If you put it in a jar, in a sterilized jar when it's still fairly warm, you can seal it and it'll last for a little bit longer. But this is not going to last around here for very long. And because we're using allulose and xanthan gum, and it definitely is going to be low carb, keto friendly, and the only people that are going to know that are us. Now I am just going to do I just don't even have words. Now if you do not have ground hibiscus flowers, you have two choices. You can order some online on Amazon is where I got mine. Or the other option is you can use cranberries. So buy frozen cranberries. They're definitely cheaper than fresh. And this time of year, fresh is going to be almost impossible to find anyway. So cranberries work. Do not buy dried cranberries. Dried hibiscus is fine. That's all it is just hibiscus. Now I'm just going to check the temperature on this. And we are at 163. We're almost done. We're just going to leave it cook for a couple more minutes. And then we are going to add our last magic ingredient. Okay, now I'm going to turn this off. So once this temperature gets up here like this, it goes quite quickly. And we are $170.2. I will take that. And just wipe that off so we don't have dried stuff on it. Okay, now, once you get this up to between 170 and 175, we're going to take it off the burner, clean up our mess a little bit, and we're going to add 112 grams of butter. And you don't add the butter when you're cooking a curd. You put the butter in afterwards because that's what makes it rich and beautiful and gives it that gorgeous shine that you get. And once you get this all done with the butter, it's going to taste even better because everything tastes better with butter. So this is 1 stick of butter. So you can cut it up into 1-ish tablespoon chunks, whatever. 6 tablespoons, 112 grams. Yeah, thereabouts. And just drop them in one at a time. And this is going to help cool your curd down as well. So you don't want these melted because you want them melting in the curd. And I'm just going to drop these last 3 in there because it is definitely cooling it down. And look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. And you can see already the shine that's coming from the butter that we've added. I'm just going to get this right there. Look at that. This is absolutely gorgeous. You know, some people get excited about other stuff. I get very excited about a recipe that is not only delicious but also beautiful, and I've been working on this one for a bit, and this is absolutely wonderful. And you can use this however you want to use this. But when it's a curd, I remember when I was little, my mom used to buy, I don't even remember the brand, but it was a lemon curd in a jar. One of our favorite things. And this is the same. You can use this on toast. You can use it on ice cream. Oh my, that would just be so wonderful. Now you want to remember to add all your dry ingredients together first and get them all mixed up. That way you don't have the xanthan gum clumping, and the sugar and hibiscus are a beautiful hibiscus sugar. Oh, look at that. Now this is going to thicken more as it cools. And I am just going to grab another spoon. And with the butter in here, wow, that is absolutely lovely. And one of the things that is true about a curd is if we put this in the fridge just like it is right now, it's going to get a skin on top of it that you can't get off. So what we are going to do instead is we're going to take a piece of saran wrap. You know, I love this stuff. It's Glad Press and Seal, and it's pretty cool stuff, but the boxes do not have a good cutter on them, so you end up having to use scissors, which is kind of a pain in the tuchus, but it is what it is. So one question that I have been asked several times. Now, there we go. We have this. It's right down on the curd, and that's where you want it, because that is going to allow this curd to cool without having that skin form on top. So then you have the whole thing to use in next week. It's going to be in a Valentine's Day tart. So if you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for you and your special someone, for you and your friends, for you and your family, whatever it is, you want to come and hang out with me next week, because we're going to be doing the other half of this, and it's going to be awesome, and you're going to love it. What I started to say, one of the things that I have been asked several times is, how much did you cheat on keto while you were on the cruise ship? Because I cook keto here, and somebody pointed out that I use it as a verb, and I use it as a noun, and I use it as whatever. At any rate, keto is so many different things to so many different people, and I will tell you that the staff on the ship in the dining room was absolutely wonderful. I ordered my meals with meat, and if there was a veggie like broccoli or asparagus that I was comfortable eating, I would order that with it. And you can order 2 or 3 entrees. So if it was just a small portion of meat, then I would order 2 of them. And so I would have double meat with a little bit more butter so that I was getting my fat in. And that being said, I was still a little concerned that I was going to come home and step on the scale, because for the first time in 5.5 years, I went 2 weeks without stepping on the scale. Now, I don't obsess over the scale, but I do use it daily as a tool. And tools are important. A scale, I mean, your weight can go up and down 2 to 4 pounds overnight. So, let's see if no, that is just not going to work today. What about that? Nope, not that either. Okay, well, so I was a little concerned because I was having, I would have a drink with dinner. And so on a cruise ship where you have all of these choices from margaritas and daiquiris, and what did I drink when I had an alcoholic beverage? Either scotch and water, or one of my new favorites is soda water and rum with a squeeze of lime. That was absolutely delicious. Anyway, I definitely stayed keto about 98%. There were a couple of evenings where I had a no sugar added dessert that I'm quite sure was a little higher in carbs than I would have been happy with had I actually been able to see the carb count, which you can't. And there were also a few nights where I looked at the dessert menu and there was absolutely nothing there that I was comfortable with, so I ordered a dessert cheese platter. And I had the cheese on it, and that was wonderful. If you are determined, you can do it and still have an amazing, amazing dining experience while you're on a cruise. So, should you go on a cruise? In my never to be humble opinion, yes, you absolutely should. Can you and should you stay true to keto while you're there? Well, can you? Yes. Should you? That's a personal choice. It's not my call to make, but I can tell you that you can. So that isn't something to stress over. We didn't eat anything off the ship, so we didn't experience any local cuisine in the places that we went, but I did for the first time experience swordfish one evening. It was an entree. I had frog's legs for an appetizer one night. Things that I had never experienced, and not only had I not experienced them, but had I seen it for sale, I wouldn't have purchased it because I didn't know if I liked it. So, good morning, Del. Anyway, that was our cruise experience, and my husband, who is also keto, he swayed a little bit more than I did, and that was absolutely his choice. And he said when he was having something that absolutely wasn't keto, first of all, he didn't care. He was having it anyway. That's his right. It's your right. And he also said, when we get home, I am going to have to get back at this hardcore and really be paying attention to keto, which he has done. We both have. So I was worried, without the scale being there and knowing that I had, maybe more to eat or had eaten more times a day, that I was going to get home and step on the scale and I was going to be up 10 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever. I had all kinds of crazy numbers running around my head, and I am glad to announce that I was up a little bit, 2.3 pounds. And a day and a half after we got home, I was right back down. So have your vacation in a way that makes it an exciting adventure that leaves you with memories to share forever. Some of the food gave me memories that I'm not going to forget anytime soon, but my best memories are the memories that I have with my husband and with our son and daughter-in-law and 2 grandchildren and our daughter that were there. And I didn't need food to make my time with them more exciting. And remembering that when you're with a group of people, it's hard to remember that sometimes, but if you can manage it, then it'll make it a little easier to stay true to what you're doing. And I watched the other people around me having all kinds of different things, and I was just fine. I just know me well enough to know that if I sway, it's going to be way harder to come back to it than it is to just stay at it. So I choose to stay at it. Now, with that said, I am very grateful that you have joined me. I hope that you will not shy away from things like a cruise or going out for dinner. Get hold of the restaurant, get hold of the cruise line, ask questions about your dietary needs. You'll be amazed at how much people are willing to work with you. And here is my tip for ordering when you're at a restaurant and you want to make sure that it's not breaded and it's not that it's going to be keto friendly. Order it the way you need it and tell them this is a food allergy situation. They take what you're saying very serious when they know that you really can't have it. And for me, that's what carbohydrates are. It's a serious thing. So on that note, thank you so much for being here with me today. I am so grateful. I would be even more grateful for this curd if it had just cooled while we were talking. I hope you have an amazing Sunday. Please do your very best to be the best version of you that you can be, and reach out to someone that you haven't talked to for a while. It will make your day even brighter, and it will definitely make their day brighter. So thank you for being here with me.